Yes, guys, how we doing? Episode 11. Let's get stuck
Oh,
in. How is everyone doing? How are we, lads? What is going on? We all
all
good?
good, man. All good. I've had a decent week so far, so I can't complain. I actually did like isolation work today on my leg. Not today, this week on my leg, which is pretty good. So it's nice to be able to kind of like get back into the like really more things without jeopardizing the recovery. So that was nice to be able to do and come out successfully. So
That's
yeah.
just is that like specific rehab work or just stuff you're doing on your own?
So it's kind of like so the rehab work is not actually started with because it's meant to be booked through my work and they haven't done it yet. So this is just kind of stuff that I've picked up online and I've kind of mixed it with um I mixed it with my no my leg day sessions, but I'm kind of mixing the two together to be kind of progressively get back to the rhythm of doing my typical leg sessions and just basically
Nice.
focus on that leg to be fair, rather than both.
Nice.
So last weekend I was in Liverpool. I trained at I'm going to try and find the name of the gym. It was a really nice gym in the centre of Liverpool. Um,
They've got that huge one, haven't they? I don't know if it's actually good.
called
It's called
Empowered Fit.
No idea. I've never
Big
been.
warehouse gym. If you look them up on Instagram, nice
Is it like
gym.
green? Is
Like
it green and black? Or am I thinking of something
no,
else?
it's like orange and black.
Good.
Right.
Let me see if I can find.
I've seen a gym that's like Liverpool that's like huge, like one of the biggest gyms I've
Yeah, I
seen.
think isn't that Nathan Diash's gym?
No, no, no. It's
No,
different. What's
no.
that one called? Beach?
It's called Empowered Fit Gyms. So I think they've got one in Liverpool, right in the centre of Liverpool, and then one on the Wirral, which is like across the water. Um, Very nice gym. I would love to have that as like my regular kind of like go to, but it's like one of these like hybrid where very sort of similar to like an Ultraflex, but they also have like an area where it's like specialized for like high rock slash CrossFit. So you've got like the bodybuilding, like big open space at the back. You've got like a little corner over here for like powerlifting, and then you've got all like the rigging and stuff for like high rocks and CrossFit at like this bottom right hand side. And then they've got like a
Oh,
posing room
wow.
and everything. But yeah,
That's
it was
that is
it
a
was
fucking
sick.
huge gym.
Like I was gonna do like my normal like pull day, and then I saw they had like all these different row variations that like I don't have access to. I was like, fuck the plan. I am just
That has
just
to be
going
fun.
ham. And
Yeah,
my
yeah.
my traps and my lats were so sore because they were all like movements I wouldn't normally do. I wouldn't normally be able to pull through those ranges. But yeah, it was so good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that
It's
looked quite
nice
sick to be
in
fair.
the minute when you come across some new equipment. I think it can give some life back into like because it's so monotonous, isn't it, at the gym? And we
Yeah.
do love that, but at times just like just using a few new bits of kit, it's like okay, this is
It's one thing that I said to myself this year that especially if I'm like traveling around. So like obviously I was at a stag do on the weekend, so it's in Liverpool anyway. So
how
it's
was
like
that?
right, I'm gonna find a destination gym while I'm here. It's like next weekend or the weekend after I'll be down in London for the not the supernatural show, the first timers with the WMBF. I'll probably
Yeah,
find a decent gym to kind of train in when I'm there. Like I was trying to do one a month, but it just wasn't working out for me to be able to
yeah.
have the time, and I was finding it was then more pressure. Like I need to get one out because I need to make content. Whereas now it's just like, right, well, if I'm traveling for anything, so like sometimes I'll end up in Lincoln for like something with my Pure Gym work. I'll go early and then I'll go to like Ultraflex in Lincoln, or I'll find one of the other like sites in Lincoln, or if I'm traveling somewhere, I'll either find a gym that's like on the way, or I'll try and adjust my plans so that I can train like when I'm there. Because being bodybuilders, like that's our fun. That's like people. Well, I put it up on my story, and one of my followers was like, "Why are you going to the gym when you're on a stag do?" I was like, "Well, they've
It's
all
my
started
life.
day drinking, and I don't really drink anymore. So
Yeah.
if I start drinking at 12 o'clock, I'm going to be in bed by 8 o'clock. So they can all get started now, and I'll go to the gym and I'll do what I enjoy. I'll meet all them, and then yeah, I met up with them at like 2:30, and then we went to like the like axe throwing and stuff like that, which a lot harder than it looks. Anybody who can throw one of those axes and actually get it to stick in, I think I had about 10 goes, and the axe didn't stick in the target once. Like, oh, so 10 goes of 3. I had 30 shots. It didn't stick in once.
I'm disappointed, man. Your ancestors will be so disappointed with you, bro.
Yeah, mate, I know. My ancestors were spinning in the graves. That's on
When
my
I
white side, though, the Viking side from my white side,
Yeah.
yeah.
when I was on prep, I was about 8 weeks out, and actually went on a stag do, and we went to Prague,
Yeah.
um, and we ended up going in the sauna one day, just like whatever reason the hotel had a sauna, so we all did it like after a night out, or whatever. And I just remember no one could believe like the vascularity of my physique, like 'cause it was just veins
Yeah.
everywhere. Like some people knew what I did, but a lot of these people like has never seen anything like that in their life. Like it was just,
Yeah.
you know what it's like when you
Especially in
leave.
a sauna as well, because what,
Yeah.
8 weeks out, you're not going to be dick skin lean, but you're going to be fairly
You know what?
close.
Like I was lean enough though, where like I'm fairly vascular, that you could see it all still. Like it would push through that almost that like whatever is left to showcase. It
Yeah.
was fucking freaky. But I just remember seeing people's faces and like they were just I could not fucking believe it. It was mental. It is
Note to
mental.
self, next time I'm on prep, get in a sauna.
Yeah.
Like, going in the sauna, just I mean, once you get out of it, you just fucking look ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I used to love that. Just I used to look forward to it. It's like, how stupid am I gonna look when I get out the
Yeah.
sauna tonight?
And
Or
then you
like,
go straight. I used to run straight to the posing room after, just get as many pictures as I can while like it's still like steaming hot. Like,
yeah, yeah, 100%. But no. So you both enjoyed your bank holiday. What'd you get up to, Patrick? Anything?
I actually called one of my mates, like we've known each other since school, but because of life and work and stuff, we hardly ever see each other. So last time we saw each other was about 6 years ago.
Wow.
And yeah, maybe 4 years ago, maybe, sorry, about 4 years ago. I said 2022, I think. So yeah, we planned to catch up on Sunday, and we just basically went to the park, had some food, and just enjoyed the weather really. And then went to my mom's house because she's been away in Ghana. So on the way back home, I went to my mom because it was on the way. Saw her and caught up with my mom for a bit. And the first thing she said to me was like, "You've gone big," and I was like, yeah, I mean, you said I should stop bodybuilding, so she doesn't know I'm on cycle yet. But yeah, she's like, she literally told me like, "You've gone big," and I was like. No, it's just because I'm eating a lot more food, mum. That's literally what I said. And then she's like, oh,
Um,
okay.
you're starting to get some solid, like shape come through. Then how many weeks has it been now?
So this is week 4 now. Week
Okay.
4. So I think this is when it's like apparently you're meant to start seeing like the effects of it because it takes a while to kind of saturate through the system. Um, I'm seeing a lot more
Right.
vascularity through my top line and a lot more fullness definitely because that's the area I've been kind of training a
I think
bit
it's
more.
one of those things because you've got all your ducks in a row on everything
Yeah,
else,
yeah,
it makes it so much more efficient, and like you will be able to see results like quite quickly.
Yeah.
Whereas like
yeah.
I think guys who don't take the training, the nutrition, the other stuff, like ultimately they're not gonna see the 20, thirty
So
pounds
yeah,
of muscle like added in a year. But I've known guys that were very, very good naturals and they've put like 30, 35 pounds of like muscle on
Yeah.
their frame over like 12, 18
I
months.
mean, yeah, I
Yeah.
think a good example is that Mikey Morris.
Yeah,
Is it Mikey
man.
Morris?
It's-
Bro, the guy looks insane now. Like,
he was
um,
against Sean, weren't he, in like the
yes,
overall?
yeah, yeah.
Um,
The WNBA
and
of
they were
last
very,
year.
very, very comparable, weren't they? Like realistically. And now, like, you couldn't fucking.
Yeah, it's just like huge, huge
Oh,
difference, man.
yeah, man. Any good natural bodybuilder, he's going to be a half decent assisted bodybuilder. It just depends how far they want to go with it. Even
Yeah,
Jack Kingsley.
Yeah,
Like he's been on what, like 2 years now, maybe, and maybe not even that long. And he's just fucking. He was always great, but now it's just like another level, isn't it?
yes, yeah,
I'm
literally,
excited,
man.
mate. I'm just excited to see it. Like you're doing it all for what? It's not up to me to decide how people do it, but like in my eyes, I completely understand and respect your decision. And if I was in your situation, and maybe I'd be even tempted. So I'm excited to see you do the journey for other people as well.
Yeah, I mean, like you suggested to do the YouTube, which we started this week. So we're gonna start
Oh, that'd be
documenting
good, man. 100%.
from this week, yeah, and
I'll
try and get like a
follow
video.
along.
Yeah, I think the plan is we're gonna try and get a video out like at least once a week, and then build up from there. See how
That'd be
that
brilliant, man.
goes.
That's a lot of work, honestly. People don't realise there's fucking so much work that goes
Yeah,
into it
it
all.
is.
You can do
I,
that
I'm
in
Yeah, I have huge respect for like you guys that do like you do YouTube. So I'm just like I watch it and I enjoy YouTube videos, especially when I'm like doing cardio or like at home. I
yeah,
don't watch no more TV anymore. I just put YouTube on and it's
me
just
too.
like bodybuilding stuff all the time. So
All day fucking long. Just
yeah,
watch it.
literally, man. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I started 4 weeks ago. We kind of decided we just started my mini cut the week prior to that, prior to my surgery, and then so when we got I went on a cycle, we kind of dropped food quite a far because he wanted us to get through this phase very quickly. So I was expecting my weight to be like constantly dropping, but my weight has actually gone up in 3 kilos since I went on
Yeah.
cycle. So even though we're
Yeah.
in the
Lots
deficit,
going
so
on there, isn't there?
yeah, so I think it's definitely doing what it needs to do, and yeah, I just said wait, patience game now. I just gotta wait and do your daily, do take it off every day, and just yeah, see what
Yeah, you can
happens.
do in a mini cut now as well. I know you mentioned about it. Is that going ahead? Or is it
Yeah.
like that?
Um, so obviously I had a few days off over the weekend.
Yeah.
Um, didn't step on the scales like Monday, Tuesday because I knew it would piss me off. And then kind of back on it. So training kind of got back to usual at the beginning of the week. And I'm just not trying not to focus too much on the kind of like weight itself. It's more just like ticking the boxes, get my meals in, and like if when the weight's ready to kind of come off, and then I think we're going to put the foot down in terms of like cardio and stuff over the next couple of weeks because ideally I want to be out of the mini cup by the time I go on holiday in July. 'Cause I don't really want it to stretch out more than like 10 weeks max.
Yeah, I think
Um,
that's
so yeah,
what
we'll see how
we
it goes
see
anyway.
what both of you at the moment then. Both kind of pulling back a bit. What do you know what you're sitting at roughly?
Got him.
Like
Food
macros
wise,
wise.
what you on?
Macros wise, I think let me have a look.
What about you, Patrick? Do you know as well?
Yes. uh,
Both.
yeah, I was literally just going because it got just adapted today as well. So the top
Okay.
training days for me at the moment are 238 protein, 234 carbs, and then 53 fats. And then rest days is 228 protein, 173 carbs, and then 52 fats.
So what is that, like 2,300 calories?
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
Yeah.
2000 calories, 2000, just over 2000 calories on rest days, and then 2400 on training days.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm on about 2,400. So protein's 209, fats 43, and then carbs 229. With about 15 minutes of cardio on training days and about 45 minutes on rest days.
Yeah. So like I think this is a good sign for some people. Like, 'cause I'm actually in a mini cut now as well, and I'm just kind of, we're all just trying to get stuck in, get out, right? But some
Yeah,
people will hear that and think, fucking hell, that's not high. Like, we've all got quite a bit of muscle, and I'm pretty much running 2,500 as well. And if you do want things to shift, then sometimes you have to get stuck in. I think some people can take it too slow, and it's something I think I've done with people in the past as well. Like it depends on what you're doing, but like if you want to get lean, you have to just get stuck in. Like, you can't waste too much time. Like, all three of us, we're well muscled, and we're not eating a huge amount of food. Even at this point, which I think is quite interesting because you hear people going on prep, and you hear people doing 1,700 calories, 1,800 calories. And I don't think a lot of people realize that sometimes just has to be done. If you want to get shredded, then that is just the
Yeah, it's
reality.
how to do they do. Yeah,
But
and I don't,
they're hearing those numbers, but that's right at the end of prep, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's one of those, you're not jumping from 3,500 calories that you need in the off season straight to 1,700. It's coming down in chunks. And I think that's something that Gen Pop don't understand, is that your calories to stay in a deficit, they shift over time because your body adapts to it. So you don't want to jump straight down to 1,600 because your body will still adapt to it. But then you've not really got any more runway to go because you don't really want to pull food down any further. So when people, always happens like January 1st, doesn't it? Right, I'm going to start hitting the gym, start eating healthy. They cut all their calories down. They're training 5 days a week. It works great for like 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And then everything stalls. And it's like, yeah, but you've maxed out everything now. Like, what more can you do?
Like, if you go, you just want a consistent deficit, like not a huge one, but just like, whatever it needs to be, right, for your rate of gain. But the heavier you are, the more food you need, like whether that's fat or muscle. And as you get lighter and you have less fat, the less full food, you need to maintain that new body weight. And that's why naturally, as well as obviously some metabolic adaptation, but a lighter body weight is always going to need less food. So, that's why it always has to gradually come down as well. So,
I think ethnicity also has a role to play in it.
genetics massively. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I mean, I'm not basing this off my ethnicity, but I'm just like this is. I think one thing I've noticed as well for me, that especially last year since working with Henry, is uh, I don't need a lot of food to grow. For me, I don't. If I push my food a bit way too much, then I end up putting on fat very quickly, which is not ideal for the goals that we're trying to achieve for me. So for me, I found I've like recently, like not recently, but like that I don't need a lot to grow. So I think the most we pushed up to was just over 3,300
Yeah.
this year so
You know
far.
what?
And
I want to pick you guys' brains on this because I hear this all the time, and I think it's very individual dependent, and I don't know whether it's a assisted man's game as well. But like when people talk about like the difference between open bodybuilders and other people, it's just the amount of food they eat, and I'm just like, I don't know if I'm 100% sold on that. Like maybe if you're an big assisted guy, right, and where you are able to gain muscle so quickly, you really do just have to fuel that more. But like, I don't know. Genetics play a massive role and stuff. I'm one of these guys, like the highest my food's ever been has been like the high 3,000s, 3,700, 3,800. And that's at like the end of like a 9-month growing phase. Like,
yeah,
and I've got, a couple of guys now that are coming up to like week 11 of their diet and they're still eating 3,600 and they're consistently dropping like on timeline and they're very, very lean. That will never happen for me like that. That's just not the case.
yeah,
And then, when it comes to the off season, it's hard for them because they are eating, like 5K, whatever, and then they are limited by how much they can eat. So don't get me wrong, I know there's a genetic component to it, but it's so hard for me to see because I've never got to the point where it's like I need to eat more to grow. It's always like I want to eat more, but I don't need to eat more because my body weight is gaining eat to your
yes.
needs, not to your wants. So when people was like, it's just limited by how much you can eat, I'm just like, I don't think it is. Like maybe for some people, but like, I don't know. What's your opinion,
And I
guys?
fully agree. I don't think like a good example that I can use is like I agree with you what you're saying. It's me and my flatmate. Like Connor can consume like crazy amount of carbs
Mm.
and he'll be fine. Like
Yes,
I
mentally.
can't push my carbs past 450 on our off
Yeah,
season, and he's
yeah,
like he was doing 850 plus, and I'm just like, what the fuck? How you digesting all of that much carbs and not getting fat. And that's he still like a six pack. He still was in great shape. Training was fine. He didn't feel lethargic whatsoever, and it works for him. But like for me, I could not push anywhere past 450. So yeah, I do agree with you. I think it's definitely it's not need. It doesn't matter what class you're doing. I just think it's based on an individual and how well they. I mean, I guess how sensitive, like insulin sensitivity. Is that the right word for it?
Yeah,
Yeah, to some degree.
kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think, yeah. I mean, I wish I was one of them guys, honestly. I
Yeah.
think you're always on one end or the other, like I suppose when it comes to building muscle, I can always put myself in the optimal position, which is a pro. But when it comes to dieting, man, like, like we're all eating 2,500 or less, right? And I have a couple of genetically gifted clients that are on 3,500 plus and they're dropping nicely. And I'm just like, and they're not hungry on that. And it's just like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like the more you realize it's such bullshit. And
I know,
like,
right? I
you
genuinely
know,
envy people like that, man. Because I
always,
see their plate of food. I'm just like, I wish that could be me, man, but I just can't do that.
I
yeah,
just remember being on the back end of prep, and I'm pretty sure my calories dropped down to like 1,400 at one point with an hour of cardio like every day. And
it's
it's
just,
like, and then I remember being backstage at the Supernaturals and literally like for the overalls, and like the big black guys are in there, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm still on 4,000 calories a day," and I'm there just eating like air and chicken breast. I'm like, "What the fuck? You're eating nearly four times as much food as me, yet you're leaner and
yeah.
fuller, and what is even going on?" Like,
Yeah, it's
I think you
mad.
just
oh,
have to look at it as a double-edged sword. You're either one of these guys who's got to diet hard, or you'll be one of these guys that's, lean, stays lean, but like is always going to struggle to optimize muscle growth, right?
yeah.
So, but yeah, I feel like I'd rather be that guy who just was lean, to be honest, and eat.
Yeah.
But you always want whatever you haven't got, I suppose.
Right,
Yeah, that's true.
I know guys that can literally just like have like pizza or like major off plan like every single week and get away with it. And I just like I'm just saying like no, I'm just eating my rice and chicken and that's doing enough. Do you know what I mean? Like but they can literally have an off plan and still be fine. And just like fair. I'm not I mean I am very jealous. Very, very jealous. Like
Yeah. Patrick, you said you had something that you wanted to bring up.
yes, yeah. Something that I wanted to bring up this week was and mainly because I've had this conversation quite a few times this week and I've had a and I've noticed the trend as well from individuals that I've competed. Like it was something that's always played the back of my mind, but at the same time, I guess I didn't bring it up because I thought it was the norm. But the more I speak to people about it this week, the more people have spoken to me about it this week, the more I realize that this needs to be something that needs to be addressed in the industry. Um, and that is, should teens be competing in bodybuilding? Mainly because of their mental health and how bodybuilding can basically be how do I explain it without sounding like that guy that was talking about PTSD. Uh, I don't want to sound. This is not nothing to do with that, by the way.
Yeah.
You know what you're getting at. Look, at the end of the day, bodybuilding teaches a lot of bad things, and that is part of the sport, right? You've got to be headstrong. It moves you into disordered eating. Okay, not necessarily eating disorder, but disordered eating. It gives you a disordered mentality behind, what a human body should probably look like to some degree. Um,
Mhm.
it takes absolute extremes, which is teaching you extremes at a young age, which can lead to lots of different things. All the same risks as an adult, like everything that goes with bodybuilding, right? So, you know, is it right to put someone, young and where their brain's still developing, to do
Yeah.
that? It's a good question, and I can see angles from every perspective. So, Deej,
Yeah.
where
It's
we'll let you start.
again, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's where does the age of consent start? So is it 16? You're technically not allowed. You can't get a driver's license at 16. You can't drink alcohol at 16, but you can compete in a bodybuilding show at 16. And also, who's coaching these guys? Like, are they teaching them responsible, like, life lessons that bodybuilding can teach you, or are they literally, right, you're not lean enough, more cardio, less carbs? Like you can get somebody very, very lean without really knowing like that much. Literally just by doing that, pulling carbs, adding
No,
cardio when somebody's weight stalls.
you know
Yeah.
what you want know. A good coach is going to do it whilst make it as easy as possible, and keep the physique at its best look. Because ultimately,
But also it's also explaining those other aspects. Like I had a client recently, I think she'd been dieting for about 16 weeks and she'd got into that mindset of like more is better. So I was telling her to do like 30 minutes of cardio and then I'd go and I'd look and she'd done 40 or 45 and I'd be like, right, you need to keep your heart rate between 130 and 140. And she'd be getting a heart rate to 145. And then she was like, oh, I'm struggling to get like all my exercises done in like the sessions. So I'm taking those exercises and I'm putting them on rest days. And I was like, all these things individually wouldn't be that big a deal. But when you're doing them all together, this is why your weight loss has stalled because you have put your stress levels through the roof. So we're going to have a deload. I'm going to up your food. So we're going to have a bit of a diet break for a week. We're going to up your food, cut your cardio in half, and I want you to take an extra day or two off the gym. So we tried to remove as much of that fatigue as possible. Her food went up, her cardio went down, and she dropped 2 pounds. And it was like her weight had stalled for 4 or 5 weeks before that. And suddenly, sorry, the dog's just licking me. Go away. And then suddenly, because we then removed all that fatigue, and then I could sit down and take it like bit by bit and go like, look, any one of these things as an individual thing wouldn't have mattered. However, because you've done this, like your heart rate's too high, you're not going to be predominantly using fat as a energy source for that, which is then going to take away from your recovery because you're going to be using your carbohydrates in there and just showing that there's a cascading effect. Now, would a average 16, 17-year-old be able to understand like the consequences of more is not better? And could they end up with a more serious condition in terms of their relationship with food, like overtraining, like all that stuff? Like at the end of the day, 16, 17, as a male, their body and their brain is probably still growing. So if done like correctly and ethically, to me there's such a gray area. Like I didn't get into bodybuilding until I was in my mid-20s. So my brain was already fully formed and some of these guys are getting like diced. Like you're looking at these teens and these juniors and they're 21, 22 and they're in the same level of condition that you see the open guys in.
and with
Right.
with that,
There's a
like,
14-year-old that competed like last year, I swear, and is competing again this year.
yeah, what? I think my heart stands with, like, I don't have a definite yes or no answer. Like, I don't think it is that black and white, but I think there could be times where you get a genetically gifted guy again that doesn't really need to diet that hard. Maybe just cleans their diet up a bit. Is already training, could go on stage, happy days. Is that an issue? Maybe not. But then you've got to get these people that are going to have to fucking dig and, really pushing themselves hard physically and mentally and, having extremely low levels of body fat in your top years of growing, is that something healthy to do? Probably not.
Also, these kids are 15, 16, they've got GCSEs, they've got exams, they've got A levels while you're in the middle of prep. Because when are all the shows? Like
Yeah.
September, mostly, like July, August, September. Like they're going to be dieting when they're going to
When
need
you're
to be
doing the exams and
revising.
stuff. And I think for me as well, I think the main part that well, the people I've spoken to is most of that the fact that they almost like lose out on building social skills that like as a teenager you should be doing, like spending time with your friends, learning like like kind of like street knowledge and all that stuff. Kind of that's what I want to say, like being able to go out there and survive on your own and all that
Oh,
stuff. But then they're not being able to do it because they're so locked in bodybuilding and doing all this stuff. Then they come out of bodybuilding and now they're left in a world where they don't know how to deal with anything else. but bodybuilding. So it's like they end up losing their friends. They end up having like literally spoke to one today earlier on who said that bodybuilding was like literally the worst thing they've done in their life because since then they've not been the same. They've lost all their friends and like it's kind of now seeing therapy almost every week to kind of like get him get his mind right. And I just felt like, wow, that's deep for someone that was doing something that's meant to be so positive, to come out of it where he just feels like he's just lost everything in his life. It's just crazy to hear at such a young age.
I just personally think it's so hard because I think for most teenagers, it's probably not a good idea, but I think there are some people that like probably could do it and it probably would benefit their life and it is what they want to do and they can juggle it. So like, you guys might have a different opinion and I could absolutely understand that, but I just don't think there's a definite answer for it.
No,
And it's
There isn't.
hard to
it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be on a case by case basis, isn't it? Like ultimately, if you did get rid of that class, people would just lie.
Mm.
Like if they really want to do it, they would just then lie about how old they are. Like they'll find ways around it.
I
And
think
you could relate to other sports as well, like maybe that aren't as mentally challenging, but there's a lot of physically challenging stuff as well, that I know like we won't go to the same depths of dieting and stuff like that, but like, some of these kids at these young age, the amount of physical exhaustion they be getting put
Oh
through.
mate, there's that 16-year-old that plays for Arsenal has just won the Premier League.
That's what I mean.
Like,
So there is levels to it, but it's such a hard one. Like
it's
again, it's the same battle as when someone's older, but it's the only difference is when they're younger, they're just more vulnerable, that they might not understand things and can't see stuff from different perspectives and that. So I do get it, but again, one 16-year-old is different to another, so it's so
yeah.
tough. I don't, it's
yeah, it
so
is. We had like so in chair there's a period where they had like at the World Championship they had like junior divisions that were competing and they started noticing that like a lot of the kids that were in the junior age were ending up like feeling burnt out so quickly from chair that time they got to senior age they was quitting chair because already at the age of 14 was 14 junior age of 14 and under at the age of 14 they were already chasing to become world champions and then they get to the age where they're actually eligible for it and then they're so burned out already because they're having to push and the coach are having to push them so much that the same way they're pushing that senior team. So they end up taking that division out of world, and I think that was the best decision that they could ever make, and just focusing on seniors because then the kids could actually end up developing the skills. Not only that, growing around their peers and developing mental strength, like how they should be growing up as it should be. Then when they're old enough to make those decisions to carry on competing at the world level, then they can go and compete. Um, so I don't know if there's something they need to put in place to kind of like control that, where maybe the teams are not they do it as an exhibition or something rather than rewarding them for it, because then at least there isn't so much pressure on them to kind of like or have to come in condition. I like for them it can be just an experience for them. And do you know what I mean? If they want to do it for an experience, then yeah, great. That way you might be able to then suss out the ones that have great potentials to go further. And then those ones can be encouraged to kind of like, look, you have great potential, take it further. But I think as a general thing, it needs to be addressed and it needs to be looked into because otherwise we're going to end up having uh, a community where it's just kind of a lot of those people are going to just crash out and burn at such early ages. I think 23 and up is like a good age to start competing. But I think anything below that, as a man or like as a young man, you've definitely not developed mentally to be taking on bodybuilding, as in my opinion.
So on that note, anybody that's listening, whether you are a teen or an adult and you're struggling mentally, I know my DMs are always open. I'm sure the boys are the
Yep,
same.
yep.
If you want to speak to somebody who has been there, done it, gone through the highs, gone through the lows, just know that you're not on your own and that there are people out there that understand. And My DMs are always open. I'm always open to having a chat and having an open and honest conversation about anything that you're going through.
Yeah, so likewise.
Yeah, and I'll even add to that. I've been in the gym industry since 14, so I know what it feels like to want to take it serious at a younger age. Like my direction was more powerlifting at that time, but I know what like the inside and outside pressures and mindset can be. And honestly, the best thing you can do at that age is have fun, and you'll get better
Yeah.
results anyway. Just enjoy it, enjoy life, and you end up going further anyway. But of course, yeah, the DMs from all of
And
us,
remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
100%.
Like,
We're doing it
you
10
can
years at a
train for
time.
bodybuilding without stepping on a stage.
Yeah,
Like, the best
we're doing it
bodybuilders are
better.
normally in their 30s, mid 30s. Like, there's no rush to get to the stage. There's no rush to get into stage condition. Like, I was having this
Not
discussion
fun.
with a guy the other day that he's about to start prep, and he was saying him and his coach had already said, like, look, we're not going for placements this year. He's an assisted guy, so he wants to compete again next year. And I was like, okay, but you're struggling, like, in your life outside of bodybuilding at the moment. And because I was trying to explain about like body fat percentages, how like you can't grow when you get down below a certain body fat percentage. And then what happens when you finish competing? You do what do they call it? Like a health phase or recovery phase. It's 6 to 8 weeks where again the object isn't to grow. So what's the point in you getting all the way dialed down to go and compete when you know you're not going to place, even at a regional show? That's not the aim.
Yeah,
But you're taking 12, 16 weeks of growth out of this year when you haven't got your other shit together. Like, you could just not diet all the way down, just come down to where you're fairly lean, and then you've got another 12 weeks where you can grow, and then mini cut, and then grow. And now you've had 3 growing cycles over the space of 12 months rather than just one. So, but yeah, sorry,
yeah, I
little
agree with
tangent.
you. I know it doesn't like I agree with what you just said, like has to be. I feel like that's something that needs to be kind of like really broken down to people. Like you have to understand it's not just like one long linear road when it comes to bodybuilding. It's always like up, then pull it down, up and pull it down. That's the best way to kind of really grow and like just become a better bodybuilder and just build more muscle really, in my opinion.
I think,
Well, you're seeing more and more guys now take out 2 or 3 years in
yeah,
between seasons rather than just one,
yeah,
Yeah,
because you can, if you're doing that, and as I said, you can go through a couple of those cycles without going all the way down into prep. You're
yeah.
always in a position where you can grow. Whereas each time you come into prep, there's going to be a certain period where your body fat crosses a certain percentage where your body's going to, nope, not adding any more muscle on now. And it's not going to be in a position to be able to add more muscle until it comes back over that percentage on the way back out.
Yeah. No, I think you do need to be strategic, especially as a natural bodybuilder. Like, realistically, the more time you spend away, the better. Like, honesty, to some degree, as long as you're being strategic of not just getting too fat for too long. Having little pullbacks here and there. But you know, even if you're having these mini cuts and you get lean, like without pushing the boundaries too much, like hormonally and stuff, you're going to still be in a good spot. That for a lot of that, you could probably still be having productive training and growing. That you do just have, although you might not be in a full-on off season, you can have years away where you're in a decent position to have, some results from that for sure. Patrick, we get
sir.
stuck with questions from last week.
Yeah, let's go. So the first question we had was it was how do you cope with stage nerves and have you got any tips? That was from Riley, Tom Riley.
I'll leave this one to you boys. I'm still a rookie in the game with this, and no, genuinely, and this is something that I could definitely get value from. So
Um,
I think the
I
only
think
thing
it's hard because I was gonna
every
and there
time you
isn't
guys
like
compete, you still have sorry, like
you still get yeah I think you still get nervous, but like for me, I've always like I learned a long time ago. Somebody told me the story. I don't know if you've heard this before, but like two people are going up in a an airplane. They're doing a skydive, and person number one is absolutely petrified. So her heart rate's through the roof, palms are sweaty, um, eyes are dilated. She's got a cold sweat. Person number two is really, really excited, but heart rate's through the roof, palms are sweaty, like things are dilated. They're the exact same physiological responses, but how you feel about them determines whether you're excited or whether you're terrified. So, like, for me now, I try to, when I'm backstage and I'm feeling those responses, I choose
To be
to
excited.
tell myself that I'm excited, that I'm going to go out there, that I'm going to enjoy it. It's that fake it till you make it.
Yeah,
And ultimately, it's understanding that you can control how you feel about a situation. Um, and I found once I kind of got my head around that concept, then when I start getting really nervous, I can take a second, bring my breathing down, and go, no, like you've trained for 18 months for this. Like you should be excited to kind of be going out there. So yeah, it's one of those. It took me a long time to kind of get over that fear and not be so hung up on the outcome that I forget to enjoy the moment.
very good
Patrick.
answer, mate. Very good answer. I think one thing that I mean, I've been involved in like competitive sports for a very long time, like way before I started bodybuilding. So it's something I'd learned to deal with at a very early age. Um, and I do remember recording at Worlds when was backstage and like the whole of the classic lineup, shot class, that division, like I could see from the eyes of the guy, like everyone in the lineup, just like terrified. It's like, oh my gosh, we're about to go on the stage. I literally just pulled back and said, like, and I had like a team talk. And it's something. It's almost like when I'm backstage, I kind of have this weird responsibility to be like a dad to everyone. I don't know what it is about it, but I generally like just step back and I got everyone together, hype them all up by just like singing and like just being silly and just reminding them, look, we are at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is end of the day, everyone that you're gonna see backstage is there for the same, is gonna be just feeling the same way as you what you're feeling. So like Donald said, how you respond to that feeling is down to you to control. You can choose to let it drain you down, or you can choose to live over the hype of it. So, and I'll always go for the hype of it. So I think that's the best way we can say to deal with it. Because everyone there is going to be shitting themselves. Everyone's there going to be competing in the same boat as you. So there's no need to kind of be stressing over anything other than the pressure you're putting on yourself to want to do well. Um, all you can do is control the controllables, which is do take your stuff off. Anything else that's out of your control, there's generally nothing you can do about it. So let it all go and just have fun. That's
And also
the best
remember
ever.
those boys that they're with you are the probably the most like you out of anybody you will meet.
Hmm.
Like you're all doing the exact same crazy shit. And even though they are your competitors on that day, I've made more friends in bodybuilding from literally the people that I will directly compete against than like anywhere else. Just because, to be honest, we all have the same mindset. We all enjoy the same things. Like they are your peers. They are the people that enjoy the same stuff as you. You're probably going to have a lot in common with them. So I think a lot of people, when they get backstage, they start looking at the other competitors and going, "Oh, that guy's leaner than me," or "That guy's bigger than me," and you start psyching yourself out. And it's just remembering that also you don't know what the judges are looking for. You don't
Yeah,
know how that person's going to present themselves when they're out there. He could be bigger than you, but the judges could be looking for that middle ground where you've got decent size and decent shape. Like you don't know what you're going to look like stood next to that person from the judge's table because you can't see from that angle.
great
I
answer,
think
mate.
the only thing that I could say from my little experience is just really thinking about it and like it's not that deep. Like, no matter what happens on that stage, no matter if you go out and completely embarrass yourself by however you could do that, because you can't, like, even if you get on stage and you're a little bit out of shape, your posing's not the best, still fucking better than 96, 7, 8% of anyone out there, right? So whatever happens, win, lose, it's no re like everyone goes back to work the next day. Like
Yeah, life goes on.
no one's gonna remember it for the rest of their life. So it's just like, what is the worst that's gonna happen, right? You're gonna go out there, you're gonna be a bit nervous, you might hit a pose, this or that. Everyone goes home still, no one dies, so what are you really stressing about, to be honest? Like,
Like
and that's
literally,
what the mindset I had for my last show, and I was literally laughing before I went on stage, and it's the one I actually kind of just enjoyed because, like, you know what, it's not that deep. I'm just gonna go out there and hit some poses and have a laugh, and that's the goal of it at the end of the day.
and if it helps, just say to yourself, which I say to myself, you're the baddest bitch going out there. That's it. Say that to yourself multiple
Yeah,
times. I'm a bad bitch. I'm a bad bitch, and you are
um,
gonna be good. It's gonna go, mate.
know the work you fucking put in to get there, and be like, this is the what I've done this, so I am the man, and I'm gonna go
Yeah,
and fucking show it.
yeah. Cool. Right, we're gonna move on to the next question. Which is, what separates a good bodybuilder to an average one? Work ethic. Would you say that? What separates a good
Good
bodybuilder?
bodybuilder from average one. Genetics? I'm joking. That's bullshit. Um,
Yeah, because I think like there's one quote that I always remember, like hard work always beat talent when talent refuses to work hard. So from my point of view, it would always be down to your work ethic. Like that would always separate like a good bodybuilder from an average one. Because if not, so a person's not willing to put the work in, they're never going to be successful. They might have the great genetics and stuff like that, but you can always outwork someone that has got great genetics. That's the reality of it.
I think for me, it sounds just cliche or whatever, but it is just consistency, because so many people will do it for like a good few months and it might fall off for a little bit, or just not consistently hitting everything. They might prep. I've got, I've got a few people in mind that I know that you tell them to prep 100% better than anyone. Like, not a fucking like. Then in the off season, 1 month on, 1 month really sloppy. A couple of months maybe ticking the box. I think the best bodybuilders are just consistently good. Not necessarily consistently perfect, but like, will always turn up, will always get a good session, will always pretty good at stuff. That will outweigh, it sounds cringy, but that will outweigh like perfection, just consistently good.
I think I'm gonna go pretty similar to what Chris is saying, and I'm saying longevity. Um, it's one of those things. Bodybuilding is a sport that requires like years of dedication, but like Chris was saying, it's dedication at a high level. So yes, you might not be able to put everything at a 9 or a 10 out of 10 and full throttle all the time, but you're ticking the boxes that need to be done. Like Chris was saying, it's not in the off season like you have a month and then your coach doesn't hear from you for 6 weeks. And then it's like, oh, okay, we're moving on to the next stage now. It's that week after week, month after month, doing what needs to be done with that due diligence, and but understanding that life does have seasons. So like for me, like I've got work, I've got kids, like I can't be giving bodybuilding 100% all the time, but even when it is on the back burner, I'm still getting my training in, I'm still hitting my macros. Yes, I might have like an extra flexible meal here or there, or I might end up skipping a meal because we've gone out for the day, like with my daughter. Like I'm not nailing everything 100%, but I'm doing enough that the needle is always moving and I'm holding myself accountable. And I know what needs to be done if I stray too far off the path. I keep that accountability there. I think a big mistake a lot of bodybuilders make is they stop their coaching in the off season because they're like, oh yeah, well I only need a coach for prep, and it's like, the off season's more important because that's where you're going to make your improvements, and it's a lot easier to fall off track in the off season because you've not got a time bound like goal when you're in prep. Right, so I'm dieting. I'm in 19 weeks. I'm on stage. So if I miss something now, there is a consequence to it fairly soon. Whereas if I miss a couple of sessions or I don't check in for a couple of weeks in the off season, doesn't matter because I'm not even starting prep for like another year. So if I miss one session now, I can make it up later. But you forget that all these things compound over time.
Yeah. You know what? It's so true that like the show winning physiques are built in the off season. Like I can honestly say like even for my first prep, like hands up, there's other people that definitely prep better than me. Like, but none of them people that like I have in my mind got the result I did because I still prepped really well. But for the rest of the year, I'm also doing it really well. Whereas them, it was way more on and off. So it is like, the off season is where the physique is built, right? And then prep is when it's displayed.
100%. Right, let's move swiftly on to the next question then. That is, how do you choose posing songs and routine? Have we answered something like this before? I feel like we have.
I don't
Don't think
remember.
we've done posing songs.
Right. Okay, so how to pick posing songs and routine. I mean, first, this was something I was actually going over yesterday, which I'm gonna be doing a reel about it on my posing account the next week about the 5 things I pick when it comes to posing routines and stuff like that. So yeah, when it's up, you're gonna know it. So if you do follow me and this is what you're inquiring, it'll give you more detail about what I'm gonna share with you guys. But technically, usually I try to pick a song that I can relate to, but most importantly, a song that the judges in the crowd can relate to. That's something that always comes to mind first. I always have to look for a song that can do that. Also, on top of that, it has to be something that I feel like builds drama over time. It's got like different levels and different layers of music, so it's easier to like kind of like keep people entertained and kind of drawn in the whole time. So they're not like listening to the same monotone song or like same line where they're like, oh, okay, cool. Then they don't remember what happens next. So try and pick something that is it's got a good climax, but it's got a right tempo to the climax. It's almost like when you're, how do I say it? How do I explain it? Almost like when you're build, it's usually supposed to build like a sandcastle, for example. Like you have like different layers, right? Until you get to the top. So you have to kind of like pick the right
Build a
layer,
momentum.
yeah, to have to build momentum going up. Um, and yeah, and then when it comes to your posing, obviously try to make sure your posing or your routine just kind of reflects the music behind it. And there's a connection between it. Like musicality plays a big role with it. So make sure like whatever poses you're doing or transitions you're doing is something that the audience can associate with the music that you're using. Don't just go ahead and just like do like a back double bicep because it's a bodybuilding pose when the music is talking about something completely different. It has no relation to a back double bicep. So yeah, be mindful on how you connect it. Just make sure like they kind of match basically. It can't just be one music going that way and then routine going that way. Then that way people are watching it and they're like, what the fuck am I watching? There's nothing being told. Posing should be seen as a storytelling. And if you see it that way, it's always gonna be easier to kind of perform to it and kind of put your routine together. You guys gonna start to that?
You're the man.
Well, I'm getting coached by you about posing, so
Yeah. So I think that's like the last relevant. Actually, we got one more important question now, which was like, what's the best whole food diet for muscle growth?
Mm.
I could not answer that
How
question
long
because
is a piece of string?
yeah,
Answered your own question, though. You just said whole food.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's literally it. Just
Name all the whole foods that you can think of, and that's an
yeah.
answer.
Single ingredient, whole foods, hit your macros. Do you enjoy eating it? Because you're going to be eating a lot of it.
Does it, does
yeah,
So
it Happy days.
One thing that I think a mistake a lot of people make is they pick foods that they think they should be eating rather than picking foods that they enjoy eating. So bodybuilding diets are boring. They are monotonous. Um, they do repeat. But if you're eating foods you enjoy, you won't mind that you're eating the same thing every single day.
Exactly.
So if you pick foods, single ingredient, whole foods, but you enjoy them, you're no longer on a diet. You're just eating food you enjoy and that you've planned ahead. And then the other thing I'd just say is like pay attention to your micronutrients because you are if you're especially if you're eating the same thing over and over again, it's very easy to end up with a particular micronutrient deficiency. So make sure you're eating plenty of vegetables. I'm guilty of not eating enough vegetables and try and eat from like multiple sources and multiple colors. So like different veggies with different colors give you different like vitamins, minerals, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, Kris, you'll be so proud of me, man. Since our last conversation about micronutrients, I've actually been so good like the last 3 weeks.
We've been
Like,
looking at
oh, having oranges, my veg, everything with every meal now. So every time I'm finishing my day, I'm like, "Ah, I feel like Kris now."
this.
You inspired me,
Genuinely,
man.
I can remember the transition from like not really eating fruit and veg like a few years ago, honestly, because I just didn't see them as bodybuilding foods, and like
Right.
how much better I felt when I suddenly like consistently hit them, like rarely getting ill, like just honestly the day to day, like
Sky.
just feel better. Like listen, if you have a car and look after it, drive smooth. If you don't, it feels like shit. Same with your body. Um, And with what Deej was saying, like a little trick that I do with my clients, like, is try get like a veg pack that has four different things in it and uses almost it's three different colours, four different things. You know, that will do. That is not the end of the world. That's still like four different types there. Same, you can get like if you're not massive on fruit or you're trying to save money, get a berry medley. You get four different types of
Yeah.
berries. That's four different types again, you know, and every now
Get
and
like
then, just on the weekend, mix it up, just have a few different things have that during the week, and on the weekend, treat yourself to a few different things. You'd be surprised how far that goes.
And people also think that like frozen's like worse than like fresh when it comes to
It's
fruit and
actually
veg.
better a lot of the time.
Frozen is better
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
fresh
fix
gets
it.
frozen as it's picked and then defrosted in the shop when it's sat on the side.
Mm,
So it's when you freeze a fruit or vegetable, it locks in the vitamins in it. So actually, frozen's better. The only
yeah,
thing
Yeah.
I'd say is just be careful when you're cooking frozen veg because if you boil it, a lot of the vitamins go into the water. So
yeah,
steaming veg. So like for me, the easiest workaround, I buy those like microwave veg packs
yeah,
because they're easy, they're pre-packaged for you. You bang them in the microwave for like 3 minutes, it steams it, and it just like you said, you've got what three different versions of veg in there, and just makes like life easy. Like I think people try and overcomplicate stuff. Like
yeah,
for me, I grab my meat, whether I'm having beef or whether I'm chicken. I grab half a packet of rice, one of those veggie packs. You can whack all those in the microwave. They'll be ready in what 3 to 5 minutes if I haven't prepared anything ahead of time. Like, and that's all good. It's hit all the bases there.
yeah. I think, like you just said, frozen pack of a berry medley, four different berries there, and frozen pack of veg that you can stick it in the microwave for like 3 or 4 minutes. You know, that's a good start already.
Yeah. And that was the last good question. The rest of them are kind of like gay, so I'm not gonna read them out. Like, yeah,
Brilliant.
so I'm not gonna read them
Cool.
out. So yeah,
Coming up for now, spot on, lads. You're
That's
both
fine.
You're both at the WNBF, so we're gonna have one more podcast before that anyway, aren't we?
yeah,
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thanks again, lads. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, and if there's anything you want to hear out of us, either drop it down below or direct message us. I'm sure we'll do another question box. And we've also got another idea that we're going to be putting out, so please get involved. So yeah, guys, thank
Sorry.
you again.
Ah. Oh my God. dogs.
Again,
The end of the podcast is Deej getting assaulted by his dogs.
They know. They just know. Okay,
I
guys.
know. Bye for now.